All right, we're going to take on a little more complicated problem this time. It's one where we'll actually have to do some integration. Now, in an exam, I will not make you do uh, integration. Uh, Now, all of the problems we've had, you could use math and integrate the load rather than just doing it visually, and that's your choice. But I will not give you a distributed load on an exam that mandates that you resort to doing integration. But I want to show you how that will be done, and it's not bad. Uh, as you move for the mechanical engineers, if you move on into strength of materials, uh, you would in a future course you would be expected to do this. But again, we're going to take a look at this. It's really not that hard. So what I have here is a cantilever beam. So it's being supported in the wall. All right, and so the first step we always do is the supports. All right, so here's the free body diagram. And so notice what we have here. There's nothing for 6 meters. And then we have in the last 6 meters, we have this triangular load. So 1/3 from the fat end, so that'd be 2, which would leave 10 on this side. What's the load? 100 times 6 is 600 divided by 2 for a triangle. We have in here then 300 newtons. Okay, so that's the load. And when we pull the wall away, what does the wall have to do? Well, the wall has to hold up the beam, and the beam is going to want to shift like this. So the wall is having to provide a torque, which would obviously be pinching the bottom, all right, to hold this beam up. So what I'm going to do here is when I pull this away, I have to put in a force in a moment to account for the wall. I'm going to do it because at the end of the day, what do we always do? After we get our supports, we're going to figure out the end conditions. So my shear and bending moment at each end. So when I pull the wall away, what I'm simply going to do here is just cut to the chase. I'm going to figure out the shear and bending moment right now. So positive shear would be going up, and that drives us clockwise. Positive bending moment would pinch the top. Now, where this is obviously going to work out negative, but I'm letting the signs take care of things. All right. It should be hopefully obvious if just looking at this. This is up, that's down. They all work. Shear starts off at 300 newtons. It's boring. All right. Now, this, if I take my moments right in here, this is going this way. Therefore, bending moment must go the other way. The moment here is 300 times 10. So therefore, this has to flip. So that's minus 3,000 Newton meters, meaning it's pinching the bottom, which common sense tells us it has to. All right. So that's what the supports are doing, but we've expressed it in terms of our shear plot and our bending moment plot. So now we got to go to the outside here and see what's happening there. Well, if you take an impossibly thin piece of this beam out here, all you have is this distributed load, which over virtually no distance gives no force. So there's no force, no moments out there that says our shear and bending moment are 0 at the end. So shear is going to start at 300. It's going to drop to 0. And bending moment starts at minus 3,000 and it's going to raise up to 0. All right. So when we do these problems, what do? We go and as soon as we get our supports in on the plot, we walk the beam. Well, let's walk the beam. So if I go across, starting here, I see nothing. There is no force. Therefore, the shear does not go up or down. So let's just construction line for me. There's the shear. All right. Now, let's see what's happening. This is going down, so it's going to drop. We know it's going to drop by 300 newtons. It's at 300, so it's going to get to 0. All right. We are integrating this. Therefore, this is the slope of that. This starts at 0, and then the force is higher going down at the end. So going from 0 to higher. So I can sketch this in. I don't have an equation for it, but it's going to look something like that. So there we have it. Now, doing this, I have to integrate this, so I have 300 times 6. That's 1,800. That would take us to minus 1,200, which I'll say is right about in here. Okay, so bam, straight line up to here. Now, we integrate this to get that, but that says this is the slope of this. And so we see this is matching up, so we're using the same slope, and the slope's going to drop to 0. So this is going to look something like the following. I match slope here, and then it just cuts off until it gets down to 0. All right, there's the plot. All right, we're all done. But how do I know I'm going to get to that? What's the math behind that? Okay, well, there's nothing to do in this first half, but we're going to take the time and we're going to actually generate the equations that generate this picture. So let's prepare for that. We'll just move this over a tad. All right, so we want to look between 6 and 12. And we know that the way this works is that we start from our initial condition. All right, that's at 300. So we've got 300 here. And we've got a distributed load that's building up. There's no force initially, and then by the end, there's a lot more force per meter. So it's falling off more quickly. So we're starting from 6, and we're letting x go up to 12. Okay. So here's the basic equation for that we've been using. Initial condition plus the integral of the distributed load, which is generally going down. So what I need an equation for that. All right. So we can just use the point slope equation, which is this right here. Okay. So I need an equation for what this is. All right. So we're going to let W, the distributed load, be y. So it's starting here at 6. Y or W is 0, and it's building up to 100. Okay. So I need an equation for that. All right. So that would be W minus 0, because we know that point. I need a slope for this. So this goes up 100 over 6 meters. All right. So we have 100 over 6 and then x minus 6. So here's my point. The y is 0, the x is 6. And this gives me an equation for what this is. Okay. Equal W. So there's our distributed load, 100 over 6, x minus 6. So if I let x be 6, I get 0. If I let x be 12, I get 12 minus 6 is 6. 6 over 6 is 1 times 100. I get my 100. All right, so in this equation, the minus sign indicates that the force is going down. So I just did an equation for this piece right here. Okay? So, stick all that in. I have 300 minus 6 to x, 100 on 6, x minus 6 dx. Well, that's easily integrated. That simply becomes 300 minus 100 on 6, x minus 6 squared all over 2. Or we have the following. Okay? So, if you check this out, if x is 6, that makes a 0. Everything wipes out. If x is 12 here, I would then have 12 minus 6 is 6, squared is 36, 36 on 12 is 3, 3 times 100, 300, 300 minus 300, 0. Matches up over here. All right, now we have the moment. It says start from your initial condition. That was at minus 1200. Okay, so we'll do that. Plus, we're going from 6 to some point x. Stick this into here. Bracket 300 minus 100 on 12, x minus 6 squared, dx. All right, integrate that. Well, that's just itself, minus 1200 plus 300 x minus 6 minus 100 on 12 x minus 6 cubed, take that out, all over 3. So we're left with minus 1200 plus 300 x minus 6 minus 100 on 36 x minus 6 cubed. All right, and if you check this out, if you put x equals 6 in, these terms zero out, you're left with minus 1200. And if I'll leave it to you to put in the 12 in here, if you put in a 12, you will wind up with a 0. So I'll leave that to you to play with. And this problem is done. Talk to you more soon.